Let me open your eyes to something most people never realize. The reason people don't respect you has nothing to do with strength, talent, or success. It's because they can see you. They can read the hunger in your eyes, the need to be accepted, the fear of upsetting anyone, the quiet pleading for approval. And the moment they sense that, the battle is already lost. A fragile presence invites disrespect. This world doesn't bow for emotion or effort. It responds to power, not the loud, boastful kind, but the quiet force that needs no defense or explanation. Think back to the last moment someone disrespected you. Maybe they ignored your message. Maybe they spoke over you. Maybe they made a joke at your expense. Why did they do it? Because they believed they could. Because something in your energy told them there would be no consequences. Respect isn't earned by being agreeable. It's earned when people feel they can't decipher you, can't break you, can't push you. When your presence alone makes them hesitate before testing your limits. This video unveils Machiavelli's darkest principles of power, the psychological strategies that create an aura so commanding that people can't manipulate, contain, or dismiss it. This isn't motivational fluff. This is the raw science of dominance, the blueprint to becoming untouchable. Watch until the end because the final principle flips everything you think you know about power. Before we continue, drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unshakable. Number 1, the foundation of aura. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you stopped yourself mid-conversation because you weren't sure how your words would be taken? That moment of hesitation, that's where your power slips away. Power begins with internal calmness, not stillness of the body, but stillness of the mind. When your thoughts settle and your certainty rises, everything about you shifts. Your tone sharpens. Your words hit deeper. Your silence becomes weight. People start aligning themselves to you without even realizing they're doing it. Most people sabotage their own aura by doubting themselves in quiet moments. They walk into rooms hoping to fit in. They talk and immediately look around for approval. They act, then wait for validation. Machiavelli warned that uncertainty is an open door for manipulation. When others sense hesitation, they test you. They push. They talk over you. Not because they're cruel, but because humans naturally follow confidence and ignore confusion. He once said, "Men are won more by the eye than by the hand." People don't follow strength or volume. They follow what they see in your gaze. And the eyes of the unsure wander. They search for permission. They ask without speaking. But the eyes of the certain, they hold. They command. They don't seek approval, they project it. Here's the rule. Never show hesitation. Even when you're unsure, move with conviction. Even when the path isn't clear, walk as if you chose it deliberately. Speak less. Move with purpose. Let every action feel intentional, not reactive. This doesn't mean acting like you know everything. It means owning your choices without apology or second-guessing out loud. When you stop doubting yourself, the world stops doubting you. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am certain. Number 2. The mask of controlled power. Now, let's talk about a secret that separates beginners from masters, what you show versus what you keep hidden. Amateurs wear their hearts on their sleeves. Masters? They reveal nothing. Never let emotion dictate your face. I don't care if you're furious, excited, hurt, or frustrated, the moment you give it away, you surrender control. Think about the last time someone provoked you and you snapped. Did they step back, intimidated? Possibly. But more often, they learned exactly how to push your buttons next time. You handed them a map to your weaknesses. That's why the true art of power lies in controlled expression. A steady voice. A composed posture. An unreadable face. Not because you don't feel. You feel everything. But you decide what the world gets to see. People respect mystery more than transparency. Calmness signals dominance. When someone can't read you, they assume you're smarter, more experienced, more dangerous than you actually are. Machiavelli said, "It is unnecessary to speak of everything you think." Read that carefully. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your feelings, or your plans, unless you choose to share them. When others can't predict you, they hesitate. They fear missteps. And that fear, it becomes your invisible armor. Here's a practical example. Someone insults you in a meeting. Instead of snapping back or defending yourself, you pause. You acknowledge them with a small nod, then continue as if nothing happened. Notice what just happened. You didn't react. They don't know if you're unfazed, plotting, or just ignoring them. That uncertainty, it unsettles them. Now, they're exposed, not you. The mask of controlled power turns you into a mirror. People project onto you what they fear or respect, and you never correct them. You observe, absorb, and act strategically. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop showing your hand before the game is over. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am unreadable. Number 3. The calculated use of fear. Let's clear a major misconception. You don't need to threaten anyone to be feared. You don't need to yell, send aggressive messages, or make a show of power. All you need is for people to understand, disrespect has consequences. Most people confuse power with noise. They believe fear comes from loudness or aggression. But that's false. Real fear, it's quiet. It's subtle. It comes from the sense that crossing you would be a mistake they can't undo. Never overreact. Never shout. When someone disrespects you, don't match their energy. Instead, become colder, harder, and more distant. A silence so deliberate it makes others rethink their tone. Think about it, when someone screams at you, yes, it startles you. But emotional people are predictable. You can read them. You can wait them out. But when someone goes cold, stops engaging, and their expression is blank, that's terrifying. You don't know what they're thinking, planning, or capable of. That uncertainty alone commands respect. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." This isn't about cruelty. It's about presence. Precision. It's about making people choose their words carefully because they instinctively know you're not to be tested. Here's a real-world scenario. Someone makes a disrespectful joke about you in a group. Everyone laughs. Most people either laugh along to fit in, or snap back defensively. Here's what you do instead. You let the laughter fade. You hold their gaze just a beat too long, not angry, not emotional, just present. Then you move on or change the subject. No explanations. No drama. Just a subtle shift in energy. Notice the effect. You didn't validate them. You didn't react. But now, everyone knows you're not to be played with. Your calmness becomes the warning. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence is power. Number 4. The art of emotional detachment. Here's a hard truth: nothing destroys a person faster than emotional involvement. When you care too much about outcomes, your focus slips. When praise or criticism controls your mood, your clarity disappears. When you tie your self-worth to external events, you become a puppet of circumstance. True power comes when your inner state is untouchable. Insults, they roll off. Praise, it doesn't inflate. Loss or victory, they don't shake you. Most people are slaves to their emotions. A compliment lifts them, a critique crushes them. Their productivity, their mood, their actions, all dictated by external events. That's not power. That's being controlled. When you don't react, you control direction. When others expect a reaction and get nothing, they lose control over you. They came armed, but you're not even fighting the same battle. Machiavelli said, "A wise man does at once what a fool does at last." The fool waits until emotions settle to act rationally. The wise? Already rational. Already composed. Already untouchable. Emotional detachment isn't coldness. It's strategy. It keeps your mind clear while others drown in impulse. Here's how to train it. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Notice anger, then release it. Someone ignores your message. Notice the anxiety, then let it go. Someone succeeds where you failed. Notice envy, then dismiss it. You observe emotions without becoming them. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Move on. No dwelling. No ruminating. No letting it dictate your next step. When mastered, this makes you dangerous. While others react emotionally, you think ahead. While they defend ego, you strategize. While they're trapped in feelings, you're 3 moves ahead. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am emotionally free. Number 5. The science of psychological leverage. Now we enter the hidden battlefield of power, psychological leverage. True influence doesn't need shouting or commands. It quietly shapes how people behave, simply because they perceive you as unchallengeable. And how do you do this? By observing. By paying attention. By understanding what drives others. Most people are too busy talking, too focused on what they want to say next. They miss everything happening around them. You watch. You listen. You study. You notice what makes people defensive, what excites them, what they avoid, and what they take pride in. Then, you don't use this knowledge to please them, you use it to position yourself strategically. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does not expose himself to danger without reason." This applies perfectly to social dynamics. Don't reveal your plans before executing them. Don't explain your strategy while you're still in the game. Use silence as a mirror, let others show their hand while you calculate. Here's an example. During a negotiation, most people talk too much, trying to convince the other party. You ask questions. You let them speak. You notice what they emphasize, what they avoid, where they hesitate. Every word gives you intelligence. Then, when it's your turn to speak, you frame your position based on what you've learned. You're not guessing. You're hitting precise psychological targets. This is how you control without commanding. People believe they're making their own decisions, but you've shaped the environment in which those decisions are made. You've set the terms subtly, invisibly, perfectly. Those who can observe emotion without being trapped by it control the game. This is psychological warfare, subtle, invisible, absolute. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see everything. Number 6. The discipline of ruthless boundaries. Here's a truth that can change your life instantly. Every time you tolerate disrespect, your power fades. Every excuse you make for someone who mistreated you. Every time you let something slide to keep peace. Every explanation you give for why you deserve respect. All of that signals one thing: you're negotiable. And negotiable people, they don't have a commanding aura, they have doormats stamped on their foreheads. Powerful individuals protect their space like territory. No negotiations. No apologies. No lengthy explanations. When someone violates your peace, end it immediately. Not with drama. Not with lectures. Simply end it. Remove yourself. Step away. Cut contact if needed. Here's the rule. 1 warning is generosity. 2 warnings. Weakness. Machiavelli said, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And true command begins with commanding yourself. Stand by standards you refuse to compromise, not for friendship, not for opportunity, not for fear of loneliness. Boundaries are not arrogance. They're a declaration: I value my energy, my time, my peace above being liked. Here's an example. Someone repeatedly cancels plans. Most people keep forgiving, keep excusing them. You. After the second time, you stop initiating. You don't confront. You don't explain. You quietly remove your effort. If they notice, you respond briefly, honestly, and without emotion. You don't chase. You don't plead. Notice what just happened. You set a boundary without begging for respect. You demonstrated, through action, that your time is valuable. They either meet your standard, or they disappear. You win either way. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be respected. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am non-negotiable. 1 act of strategic withdrawal teaches more than 1,000 words ever could. Because talk is cheap, but absence is expensive. It costs them your presence, your attention, your availability. And once it's gone, it's rarely restored. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My absence teaches. Number 7. The power of strategic withdrawal. Sometimes the strongest move isn't confrontation. It's disappearing quietly. Not with announcements. Not with drama. You simply pull back your energy, attention, and presence, and let others feel the void you leave behind. Most people make a critical mistake when disrespected. They stay, argue, prove their worth, or try to win validation. That's exactly what kills power. When someone disrespects your time, takes you for granted, or undervalues your effort, your response should be absence, not confrontation. You don't explain. You don't vent. You don't give them the satisfaction of knowing they affected you. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves." One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Translation: be smart enough to recognize wasted energy, and strong enough to walk away without looking back. Here's how strategic withdrawal works. Someone constantly cancels plans. Stop making plans. They text expecting instant replies. Delay your response or reply minimally. They invite you somewhere. You're suddenly unavailable. Notice what happens. They start to notice your absence. They reach out. They apologize. They promise to improve. And here's the key: don't rush back. Stay distant. Let them wonder if you're gone for good. This is psychological warfare in its purest form. You're not punishing. You're protecting your energy. You're teaching them your value through absence, not words. Think broader. At work? Stop doing extra tasks for someone who undervalues your effort. In relationships? If you're treated as an option, remove yourself entirely. No explanations. No emotional speeches. Your absence forces realization. Number 8. The crown of untouchability. When all these principles combine, certainty, silence, discipline, control, something extraordinary happens. You rise above ordinary behavior. You stop chasing approval. You stop over-explaining. You stop reacting to every provocation or celebrating every minor success. You move with quiet dominance because nothing inside you trembles. And people notice it. They can't put their finger on why, but they feel it. They measure their words, lower their tone, second-guess their approach, not because you threaten them, but because your presence demands it. This is the aura no one can resist. The aura of total composure. Think of the people you've met who had this quality. They didn't need titles, loud voices, or announcements. They existed on a different frequency, and everyone else adjusted. That can be you. But it takes commitment. Stop seeking external validation. Build internal certainty. Train yourself out of emotional reactivity. Enforce boundaries others might call harsh, and maintain them. Machiavelli said, "Fortune favors the bold." But boldness isn't recklessness. It's the courage to stand alone in your principles when everyone else is compromising theirs. You don't become untouchable by avoiding pain. You become untouchable by mastering it. By walking through discomfort without flinching. By losing without breaking. By being insulted without defending. By being tested without cracking. This is the crown of untouchability. The ability to remain yourself, no matter the pressure outside. When you reach this state, you'll notice something remarkable. Those who challenged you will suddenly respect you. Those who dismissed you will seek your opinion. Those who overlooked you will feel your absence because you stopped playing their game. You stopped needing approval. You became the most powerful piece on the board. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am untouchable. The truth about power. Here's the ultimate lesson. Power isn't about aggression. It's about being unmoved. In a noisy world, silence becomes intimidation. In a reactive world, stillness becomes control. In a world desperate for attention, the person who doesn't need it becomes magnetic. You don't need permission to be respected. You don't need a title, a degree, or someone's approval. You need discipline and the courage to stand alone in certainty. Most people will never understand this. They chase validation. They react emotionally. They tolerate disrespect. And they wonder why they're not taken seriously. But you, if you've watched this far, are already different. You're willing to do what others won't. You're already building something most people are too afraid to attempt. If this video resonated, drop a like. Share it with someone who needs this message. Subscribe to explore more about power dynamics, human psychology, and strategies that truly work. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. My aura is untouchable. Remember, the world respects strength, not fairness. It honors boundaries, not kindness. It follows certainty, not doubt. Stay ruthless. Stay calm. Stay above emotion. Your aura is being forged right now, with every choice you make. Make it count.